Good afternoon and welcome to Vancity's webinar on heat pumps and more, how to create a climate-ready home. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that Vancity operates on the unceded lands of the Coast Salish people, represented today by the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. They have been custodians of this land since time immemorial, and as visitors, we would like to start this afternoon's event by paying our respects to elders of the past, the present, and the leaders up and coming. Today's webinar will be recorded and shared with attendees and will also be posted onto our YouTube channel shortly after the event. As such, we have turned off incoming cameras and muted your microphones. If you're not already, we highly recommend that you join us via desktop or laptop and use the Microsoft Teams app. This will ensure you have access to the Q&A. For those of you that have already joined us via Microsoft Teams on your laptop or desktop, please note the banner button at the top of your screen. Here you'll find a variety of opportunities to engage with today's webinar. The reaction button allows you to choose a real-time emoji response to the content being shared. The Q&A button allows you to submit a question to which our team will view it back behind the scenes, or it will be immediately reviewed and you can further comment. Lastly, to turn on live captions, please select the More button and scroll down. We encourage you to engage with us throughout the webinar via Q&A and in our post-event survey so that we can learn more about what's been most valuable to you and what you might want to see more of in our future webinars. If you're ready to learn about heat pumps and more, give me a thumbs up through the webinar reaction tab. All right, thank you, and yeah, thanks. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to our first speaker of today, Emily Pearson. Emily is a senior consultant in Vancity's climate strategy and performance team. Her primary role is to support Vancity's commitment to becoming net zero across all of our loans and mortgages by 2040 through products, services, training, and resources for members wanting to reduce their emissions. Over to you, Emily.
Thank you so much, Amanda. We are so pleased you've been able to join us for this important webinar topic. Vancity is pleased to be co-presenting this webinar with City Green Solutions, a nonprofit based in Victoria with a mission to excite, inspire, and lead BC in finding innovative home and building energy efficiency solutions. We're grateful that Sam Wright is here with us today to bring her expertise in climate-ready homes. So I too would like to acknowledge that I'm joining you from the unceded ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I'm so grateful to live, work, and play in this area. And I recognize that a healthy environment is deeply interwoven with the language, culture, economy, and livelihoods of Indigenous peoples. We recognize that many of the impacts of climate change will, and have already, have a disproportionate impact on Indigenous communities. The drying of key salmon beds is a current example of this. We know that across the world, those who have contributed the least to the climate emergency will be the ones to suffer the most from it. Taking action on climate is part of our reconciliation journey, and Vancity is committed to supporting Indigenous peoples, their businesses, their communities, to lead an equitable transition to a clean economy. So to reflect the focus and intent of how Vancity wants to show up for our members and community, we did revamp our vision statement in 2022, and I'm always so proud to share this. It states that at Vancity, our vision is a transformed economy that protects the earth and guarantees equity for all. So with the climate emergency worsening, it was clear to us that we needed to be doing more. In 2021, we set some ambitious climate commitments. The main one being that we are committed to being net zero by 2040. This means that the carbon emitted from anything that we finance will be eliminated or significantly reduced, with any remaining emissions being brought to zero. Now, preventing environmental harm is already a key part of our criteria for making lending and investment decisions, and that's why we don't invest in any oil and gas. But as a result, the bulk of our financed emissions are in mortgages, which is why we're having the topic today. So we are also committed to financing an equitable climate transition. We are working to help people affected by the climate emergency, as well as those seeking support in transitioning to a cleaner and more sustainable living style. For climate transition to succeed, everyone in community must be in a position to reduce emissions and to fully participate in the clean economy that follows. No one can be left behind or we'll all fail. In BC, homes and buildings contributed to 10% of the total emissions. And in the Canadian context, it's even higher, which is why it's become a key area for all levels of government to focus on. But we know your home isn't just about energy. It's also where you live, work, play, rest, raise your family, more. Your home also needs to be a safe place to handle heat waves and wildfire smoke. So Vancity is committed to helping our members to not only reduce the emissions in their homes, but also have homes that will last, be comfortable, be affordable. And there are more supports than ever to help you achieve this. So now I'm really excited to pass it over to Sam Wright with City Green to get into the main topic of today, heat pumps and more, how to make a climate-friendly home. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Emily, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I'm very excited to take some time to learn more about the various ways we can look at our homes, how to make them more energy efficient, climate ready. So I also want to take just a brief moment here to acknowledge with respect the Coast and Strait Salish and Wassanic peoples on whose traditional unceded territory we are presenting here today. As well as the Lekwungen, Songhees, Esquimalt, and Wassanic, whose historical relationships with the land continue to this day. So overall, in this presentation, my hopes is that we have a greater understanding of climate change and its impacts and how this is overall affecting our homes as Canadians here in BC. We're also going to look at BC's electricity, our grid, as well as the importance of switching away from fossil fuels. There'll be a nice section here where we're going to be exploring different components of a climate-friendly home, including energy efficiency upgrades, as well as learning about the various resources, supports for incentives for you as homeowners to improve the energy efficiency of your home. So here in Canada, the average temperatures are rising twice that of the global average. This means that Canadians will feel the effects of climate change to even a greater degree than we might see elsewhere around the world. We see climate change in a variety of different ways. With rising temperatures, we see extreme storms, droughts, shifting precipitation patterns, sea level rise, wildfires. Some of these may be more closely than others. We've seen these impacts firsthand last summer with the heat dome. This extreme heat is really showcasing the increased demand for cooling, not only just for home comfort, but also for serious health and safety considerations in our homes. Even this year with Hurricane Fiona being deemed Canada's strongest storm yet, causing mass power outages, displacement, and damages. These are all impacts of climate change that we're only starting to see more and more. While perhaps less evident day to day, again, we are seeing these impacts and how it's impacting our health, our environment, and this will only increase in years to come. We do spend most of our times in buildings, and climate change will impact how we use our buildings, how we use these spaces, and it's important for us to consider how our buildings are working for us. We need cooling in extreme heat, air filtration during wildfire smoke events, and water conservation and flood protection for droughts and severe storms. The bottom line here, here in BC, we are fortunate to have some of the cleanest electricity generation in North America. About 98% of our electricity is hydro-powered. This is considered to be carbon neutral. Yet about 70% or more of our economy is still powered by fossil fuels. That 70% can be quite significant. We use fossil fuels to heat and cool our buildings, our hot water, cook our food. And while we're often more concerned about our cars idling for maybe 2 or 3 minutes outside, it's important to consider our buildings are essentially idling 24/7. We have to look beyond electric vehicles as a means to reduce our carbon emissions and consider how we can change this in our own homes. Using energy in our homes creates greenhouse gas emissions, or GHGs. This is a Vancouver study that's highlighting that roughly 90% of buildings' GHGs are from burning natural gas. Natural gas, despite its name, is a greenhouse gas, and it is 16 times more emission intensive as electricity. That's really, really substantial when you look at it here. Now, where is most of this gas consumption coming from in a home? Well, it's actually primarily space heating and water heating. So in the same study, most of the GHGs are from space heating and water heating with natural gas, leaving only a small portion of that from other sources, whether it's cooking or other things like that. Shifting our home heating, as well as water heating, away from natural gas can substantially reduce the carbon emissions in our buildings. Just for some comparison here, it's no surprise oil heating is very carbon intensive. It's resulting in a crazy high level of GHGs, but even looking at natural gas, it's still quite high when looking at something like a heat pump that has very little GHGs emitted in the home. So replacing fossil fuel, whether that's oil or natural gas, to an electric heat pump will significantly reduce household GHGs and shift a home towards becoming more climate friendly. Now, a heat pump isn't necessarily the only way to make a climate friendly home. There are many different features to that. In BC, choosing electric options for space heating, water heating, and cooking can all dramatically decrease the GHGs of a home. So whether that's a heat pump, electric water heater, an induction stove, an electric vehicle, it can also mean things such as on-site solar hot water. But it's also important to consider that we can also reduce our home's energy consumption, not just the GHGs that are emitted. So this can include things like improving air sealing, increasing insulation, improved ventilation, considerations for north-south orientation and designs, and natural shading and landscaping. These will all ensure that you have low energy consumption in the home as well. Overall, a resilient and climate-friendly building is a building that emits no greenhouse gas emissions and better withstands the negative impacts to climate change, ensuring that homeowners, occupants are comfortable and healthy in the home. Our homes contribute to climate change, but we also want to make sure that they're going to be better protected over the impacts of climate change. So we want to identify strategies that can both reduce our emissions and increase that resiliency at the same time. An excellent example of this would be installing a heat pump in your home. You're going to be reducing your emissions while also providing cooling. As I've noted in the previous slide, this is not just a comfort in the home, but a health and safety consideration. Now you might be thinking, well, why is this important for homeowners? Well, most people aren't very passionate about energy performance of homes. And most people don't tend to understand what is a climate-friendly home or why this might be important. But they do want cold drinks, hot showers, and a safe and comfortable home that they feel really good about. But are the homes of yesterday, or even our homes today, are they ready for the future? Well, not really. We do need to make a change. We need to build our homes better. We need to renovate our homes for the future, for the climate of the future. The house as a system concept is how we can better understand the way we build and renovate our homes. This concept defines the house as an energy system made up of 4 interdependent components, each affecting the other. So our home is a system. If you change one thing, it will impact another. If you have a very air leaky home in a heating system that's working really hard, if you repair that air leakiness in the home, if you add insulation, improve air sealing, that heating system is going to be working better. This is just one of the more simple explanations of house as a system and how these components will all interact with each other. So understanding that the home has many parts and that they're all related to one another, let's talk about some of these individual components of the home that make up a climate-friendly home. I'd like to first start with heat pumps. This is one of the best ways to reduce your GHGs in the home and increase your home's resilience to climate change, as I've highlighted already a few times. Well, some of you might be more unfamiliar or familiar with heat pumps. Heat pumps are the most energy efficient heating system and cooling system on the market today. They have efficiency ratings between 300 and 400%. So it's going to be 3 to 4 times more efficient than something like your most efficient gas furnace or even electric baseboards. So this is why this system can significantly reduce your GHGs and also be a really great energy efficient, low energy option for the home. There are a number of different types of heat pumps. Some of the most common systems include a central ducted system or a ductless mini split system. So the central system would use existing ductwork throughout the home, whereas a ductless mini split would be a wall-mounted unit in a home that would provide some zonal heating. Some maybe less common systems would include something like a geothermal heat pump or a hydronic or air-to-water heat pump. So to learn a little bit more about these systems and how they work, I actually want to pass things over to Dave at BC Hydro, who does an excellent job at explaining how these systems work. Perfect. Thank you, Dave. From everyone joining, if you want to hover over your reactions, maybe thumbs up, thumbs down. How do we feel about heat pumps after that video? I find it's a really great short video that talks about how they work, their benefits. Perfect. Glad to see all those thumbs up. So now that we have a good understanding about how these heat pumps work, let's have a closer look at some of their benefits. So there are many benefits to a heat pump. Year-round comfort, again, providing both heating and cooling to the home. They're also going to be the highest in terms of energy efficiency, can provide excellent cost savings as well, especially if you're switching from something like electric baseboards. Big money savings there. They're also going to be climate friendly. Again, that electric heating, reducing GHGs, shifting away from fossil fuels. In some cases, like from the image on the screen, you have the wall-mounted unit here that's going to allow you to have zonal heating in the home. Better indoor air quality as well. There is some air filtration with heat pumps, different degrees of that. Some systems will have more high quality options for filters than others, but dust, allergens, wildfire smoke, an excellent way to clean that indoor air. You don't require ductwork. Again, that mini split system, you may not need it. And as far as rebates go, you can access up to $11,000 in rebates and grants when you install a heat pump. It's pretty significant. Another component of energy efficient homes, a climate friendly home, is improved insulation. So insulation is actually working to slow down the transfer of heat and cold between the inside and outside of your home. We may often think of insulation as helping maintain our homes to stay warm in the winter. It actually does just the same sort of job, excellent job in the summer to keep our homes nice and cool as well. So you want to have a tight air barrier that provides resistance from the air and moisture between, again, the inside and outside of the home. So by increasing insulation levels, you will ensure that other components of your home, such as a heat pump, will work better for you and keep you comfortable as well. So again, that house is a system concept. You're improving one component of the home. This will help the other one as well. So beyond the key ways insulation works to slow the transfer of heat or cool from the outside to inside of your home, there are also many benefits, maybe even some hidden benefits to a well-insulated home. So some of these benefits might include a consistent comfort, better maintaining that warm air, that cool air in your home. You also get a quieter home with insulation. If you live on a noisy street, maybe have some noisy neighbors, improving the insulation will actually help reduce some of that outside noise in your home. You'll be saving money. Your heating systems can be working better. Climate friendly, again, you're going to be decreasing the overall energy use in your home by increasing those insulation levels. In some cases, you might be able to get a smaller heating system. If you had a really, really under-insulated home and you topped up your insulation levels, that's a great way to size to a smaller system. And overall, you're just improving the durability, that resilience of your home as well. And more rebates, access up to a little over $10,000 in rebates and grants if you're doing a whole home insulation retrofit. So again, some substantial amounts available. So closely related to insulation, there's also air sealing and creating an airtight home. Many benefits to this as well. So you're going to be decreasing drafts, that consistent comfort again, indoor air quality is going to be better, quieter home, less waste, lower bills. You also help reduce the risk of insects or rodents coming into your home, as well as a reduced risk of moisture and damage. So very closely related to insulation. So overall, having a well-insulated and airtight home, again, we're going to be blocking out that outside noise from the street. We're going to be comfortable all year round. And an added benefit, if you do experience power outages, you're going to be able to maintain the comfort, that indoor temperature for longer periods if it's not escaping outside of your walls. So this is a really important consideration if you might be in an area prone to more power outages. And there are some grants as well for air sealing up to $1,000. So again, that consistent support and incentives for these upgrades. So we want to ensure that our buildings are remaining comfortable in our warming climate. So we are looking at things like air quality concerns. So indoor air quality is going to be a major consideration for our health and well-being. So outdoor pollutants, wildfire smoke, traffic, and other sources can leak into our buildings. So we want to make sure that our homes are going to be better designed, better insulated, more airtight to reduce not only noise, but also pollutants from coming into the home as well. Another important aspect of a climate-friendly home would be high-performance windows and doors. Now, to not get too technical here, there are many features to an energy efficient window and door. So just listing off a couple here, we have low E coating, we have double or triple glazing, inner argon glass, insulated frames, of course, good insulation overall. So these are all different components that make up an energy efficient window. And similar to having a well-insulated home, these high-performance windows also have a ton of excellent benefits. So again, that increased comfort in the home, we're going to be limiting some overheating. So if you do have an orientation that's south-facing, west-facing, then this can also be a great way to limit overheating in those high sun times. Peace and quiet, again, we're going to be reducing outside noise. You're going to protect your interior as well. So newer high efficient windows can protect sun damage on furniture, flooring, increased home value as well. Saving energy and money, again, reducing the energy use in the home by ensuring that the external components, so your insulation, your windows and doors, are highly efficient. You can also help to address some issues such as mold on the windows, and of course, more incentives as well. So if you are replacing some windows and doors, you can access up to $7,000 in rebates and grants. So as highlighted in the earlier slides, about 90% of a home's GHGs can come from heating our homes, so space heating, as well as heating our hot water. So reducing our GHGs from our hot water can help to create a more climate-friendly home. One of the ways we can do this is to replace existing fossil fuel water heating with an electric heat pump water heater. So an electric heat pump water heater is very similar to a heat pump. They work pretty much the same way, but it's just heating water in a storage tank opposed to heating the air in your home. So it's still going to use that same process of refrigerant collecting ambient heat from the outside air, or perhaps the air in your garage is a common space where heat pump water heaters are, or your mechanical room. It will then transfer that into a coil in the tank and heat up that water. So it is a tanked system. We do see tankless systems more and more. So this one does have a storage tank, but is the most energy efficient way to provide domestic hot water to the home. So just like a heat pump, it can dramatically reduce your GHGs, your energy use as well. This is one of those really, really beneficial ways to create a climate-friendly home. So not just heat pump for space heating, but a heat pump water heater as well. So again, some of those benefits, we have saving you energy, saving you money. So you're using less energy than perhaps a standard electric water heater, and climate friendly again. So you're going to be 300, 400% efficient. It's a much better option than natural gas as far as GHGs go. And it's reliable as well, providing you with that stream of hot water. And of course, rebates and grants. So you can access up to $2,000 when installing an electric heat pump water heater. So we've covered a handful of upgrades and energy efficient components of the home. Of course, there are countless others. So we do have solar, electric fireplaces, Energy Star appliances, even LED lighting. These are all ways to overall reduce emissions in your home and increase its resilience to climate change. So this could mean adding solar to your roof, maybe replacing your gas stove with an electric induction stove, or maybe swapping out all your old lighting for LEDs. These are all other ways that you can continue to improve your home's overall energy efficiency, making it a climate-friendly home as well. So in general, kind of wrapping up on all of these different elements of a climate-friendly home. Climate-friendly homes are more comfortable. So they're going to be doing a better job at maintaining indoor air temperatures. You'll get a healthier home as well. So you'll have fresh air in the home. It's going to be keeping pollutants out. With a heat pump, you have that air filtration as well. You're going to have a quieter home. So it's going to do a better job keeping that outside noise out and having nice, quiet, comfortable home on the inside. It's also going to become more affordable to heat. You're going to require a lot less energy to stay warm or to stay cool when you improve insulation, put in those high performance windows and doors, add the heat pump. It's going to become a more affordable home. And with all of that, it also will be better for the climate. You're reducing your greenhouse gas emissions and working towards that change. So you might be thinking, okay, so I'm getting started on retrofits. I know I want to do something, but I have absolutely no idea where to get started. I'm just overwhelmed. There's too much out there. What am I to do? Well, you're in luck because there is a ton of support available for you. So starting with the Home Energy Advice Program, this is a collaboration with Vancity and City Green that allows you to learn where to get started, ask specific questions for your home, and feel more confident about those next steps for your retrofit journey. It includes a free one-to-one phone call with an energy expert where you can have support in finding those next steps, finding a contractor, perhaps choosing between different quotes, and much more. So to sign up for this program, you would submit a registration form. And with that registration, you get connected with an energy expert for that one-on-one consultation. And then from that conversation you have, you actually get a customized report. So it summarizes that conversation you have, outlines the next steps, some suggestions or recommendations you can make in your home, and wraps it all up in a nice report, directs you to those next steps. So I definitely recommend signing up if you have not already. It's a great way to get started in your retrofit journey. So beyond the Vancity program, another great place to gather more information would be the Clean BC Better Homes website. This website here has all of the information about the provincial rebates, municipal rebates, federal grants. Oof, overwhelmed by that list already. There's a ton of resources, there's a ton of incentives, and they are well captured in this website to really break down what might be available for your specific home, for your specific retrofit journey. Some of the resources on this website include the rebate search tool. So this is really your first step, I would recommend, when you do land on this website. It is, you would filter by your project type, so perhaps renovating a home or building a new home, your location, as well as how the home is heated. This will generate a specific list of results on what is available for your home as far as rebates and other incentives. There are a number of search tools as well. So to find an energy advisor who would perform an EnerGuide home evaluation, you would use the Energy Advisor search tool to find who services your area. And speaking of this service, so the EnerGuide home evaluation, which is actually the first step to access any of those federal grants through the Canada Greener Homes program, Vancity offers rebates if you are planning on completing this service. So generally with an EnerGuide home evaluation, you have a pre-retrofit, so prior to starting any renovations, and then you would have a post-retrofit. So once you've wrapped up with your retrofits, you have the energy advisor come back in the home and do another assessment. So through both of these services, Vancity is offering two separate rebates, one for $150 and the other for $250 towards this service. So this is just for Vancity members and is an excellent way to reduce some of that upfront cost for this service. One of those other search tools would be the contractor search tool. So you can filter for heat pump installers, insulation contractors, window and door installers as well, all based on your location. So who's servicing your area. Important just to note, so the contractor search tool is going to be really important if you are planning on installing a heat pump or doing any insulation upgrades. For the provincial program, you do have to work with someone that's found on this list. So definitely recommend checking it out, maybe bookmarking this page as well. It will be where you'll want to find those contractors. And if you aren't sure or maybe have started looking for contractors a few months down the road and have forgotten, if you sign up for the Vancity program as well, they can help direct you to these resources. So just keeping that in mind, the Vancity program, Home Energy Advice, is a great way to just keep in mind those next steps for your journey. And if at any point you are feeling overwhelmed with all of the resources and information, if you're stuck on the website, you've maybe visited a page you can't seem to find this time around for whatever reason, I definitely recommend connecting with an energy coach. They are trained experts for all things rebates. They can help navigate those different, nitty-gritty details of the program with you, making sure that any quotes that you might have are eligible systems. So another excellent resource, free resource for anyone in BC to use to navigate these rebate programs. So overall, in our presentation today, we covered a fair amount of detail. So I hope that we did walk away with a better understanding of how climate change is impacting our homes and also the role our homes play in mitigating climate change. We need to shift away from fossil fuels. The importance here in BC of an all-electric home that is a climate-friendly home. We want to understand the different components of a climate-friendly home and their benefits. So we talked about heat pumps, insulation, air sealing, windows and doors, a heat pump water heater. These are going to be those components of a climate-friendly home, providing year-round comfort. We're going to have a quieter home, a healthier home, and a home that is more affordable as well. And of course, there are tons of incentives and rebates, but ultimately knowing where to find support. There's a lot of great support available as well. So the Clean BC website, the Vancity Home Energy Advice Program, these are all great ways to get more help for your retrofit journey. And I'll pass things back over to Emily.
Thank you, Sam. That was so much detailed information. And even though, I feel like I've sat with this, there's still things that I learn every time, and reflecting on, you think about the homes you grew up in, and you think about the homes you spend your every day in and the buildings you're in every day, and thinking how much better they could be. So thank you. I do encourage folks to use the Q&A buttons to submit any questions that they might have for Sam or myself, and we can get to those soon. But before we get there, I just want to quickly review just those ways that Vancity is trying to step up and provide some support on what we've talked about today. So the first is through financing. We do have our Planet-Wise renovation loan, which offers preferred terms for financing projects that will lower the emissions of your home and achieve all of the great things that we've talked about today. And you can book an appointment through vancity.com or talk to an account manager. The second is just through information. we know that this is a key barrier that folks face, and we've already talked about this. So just as a reminder that the energy experts at City Green are so great, and members get this free access to one-to-one calls. Talk about your home in detail, go through the pain points, what you're trying to achieve, review contractor quotes. If you get an EnerGuide assessment, talk with them and help understand it a bit more. And that link is on our website as well. And if you look back on the slides, Sam had it posted there, you can click on it. And finally, through rebates. So again, we have the one rebate right now, which is for the EnerGuide assessments. So this is a great way to help make that service more affordable for you, and to make sure you get access to the rest of the money that's out there on the table with the federal government rebates. And that's an easy one to process. You just get your EnerGuide assessment done, submit that to your account manager, and we can rebate your account. So thank you again, Sam, for such a great presentation. And if there are any questions, we're happy to take those right now. And we can just see if there's any coming through, but I can start things off with a couple things. One is that we get a common question about heat pumps, not we, but you hear it, is that are they noisy? If you're putting in this, big thing in your home, are you going to hear it? So hopefully you could tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, Emily, of course. So this is a common question, concern. I like to call it, a little bit of a myth these days. So while it's true heat pumps make noise, they are not the same, noisy appliance that you might be familiar with 10 or 15 years ago. They are quite quiet systems now that technology has come a long way. And you'd be surprised that most of your household appliances are actually quite a bit louder than a heat pump. And when we do talk about the noise of a heat pump, we're talking about the outside unit, so that compressor. And something like a dishwasher, a dryer, your toilet flushing, these are all actually louder than the noise that you'll hear from an outside unit. And there's even ultra quiet models that can be even even quieter than you might expect. So it's definitely a bit more of a myth than maybe a concern these days.
Well, that's so great. So great, thank you. And then would folks need a permit to install a heat pump?
Yeah, another excellent question. So that will depend more so on your specific municipality. So I definitely recommend checking in with your municipality, with your permitting office, to see if that's something that you may require. So it's not a blanket answer for everyone. It's going to be specific. So make sure you do check in.
Okay, good. Now, I wrote my questions down. Oh yeah, cost. So we got into this question about all the rebates, but could you give a general ballpark of the costs of a heat pump?
Yeah, that's a tricky one for sure. The not so fun answer is that it does depend quite a bit. So you see a huge range in costs when it comes to installing a heat pump. So this is going to be dependent on a number of different factors, from where you're located, as well as the size of your home, size and layout of your home overall, what old system you're replacing, your contractor, the brand you choose, how energy efficient, the efficiency ratings of the system. So lots of considerations, but overall, if you are factoring in rebates, again, we have some great incentives available, as well as some benefits like, we're reducing GHGs if we're choosing a heat pump. We have the added benefit of cooling. It can be quite comparable to that of installing something like a new gas furnace.
Right. Okay, that's super helpful. I think about all the homes that are using portable air conditioning units all the time too. So, do you think that, do we see sort of an increased demand now because folks need more indoor cooling in the summers? Do you think, is that changing things a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah, even especially since last summer with the heat dome, most people, especially in the lower mainland, Vancouver Island, have never really thought much about air conditioning, apart from maybe the 2 or 3 days a year, we're like, maybe it would be nice to have. But now it's being it's a serious consideration for homeowners. It's your health and safety that you need to be worried about because of extreme heat. That was a long period of extreme heat that we had last year. So from that, you're seeing people a lot more prone to asking about heat pumps. They understand that they can provide cooling, and now it's just filling them in on those gaps of, okay, yes, they're an excellent heating system. Yes, they're electric and not natural gas. They're going to be reducing those GHGs in your home. So it sparked everyone's interest for heat pumps a lot more. So now it's filling in those gaps of, let me tell you more about these systems.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, Sam. I think that the quote that really stuck with me is something you said near the beginning, which is that we may think about like our cars idling, but our homes are idling all day. And to think about that being such an important place where we spend time and energy, and also that it has such an impact. So thank you for helping us all to reflect on that today. And I just appreciate everybody joining us today. So thank you. It's been a pleasure. There is a question from somebody. Sky, if you're able to put that into the Q&A, that would be much appreciated, just because we have the mic and the disabled. So please post that into the Q&A. That'd be great. We can get to your question. I have to go put the air purifier on in my home downstairs so that my in-laws can come over today because they can't handle wildfire smoke. So, you think about these decisions that we have to make in order to be able to be in our homes. It's something we all have to really consider. Sky, I'm not sure if you've gotten that one in. So thank you again. If I can't get your question, Sky, we will connect. There is a QR code that you can scan here and get a short survey about this webinar. We would really appreciate hearing about if the content was helpful for you today. And if there's any other additional information that you would find useful, we'd love to learn more about that. And there will also be a follow-up survey, a follow-up email with the recording sent out to everybody and with a link to that survey as well. So thank you so much for connecting again. Appreciate your time, Sam, today and all the expertise you brought in. Hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.